All right. Might be good to have a mic. That might help. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Creators Checkup. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Alan C. Paul. I'm the host and founder of God and Gigs. And this is where we help you to achieve your best creative life by applying timeless spiritual principles to temporary creative problems. I always want to welcome everyone that's joining on replay as well. We are just coming out of an amazing workshop. So some of you might have just been with me for an hour and now you jump back in. So, hey, thank you so much for thinking that this particular content and this platform is worth your time on a Friday. Also going live here on TikTok, a little above me, you can see like my ring light here it's popping up because I'm up here as well. But I decided to just go live as quickly as I could, as many places as I could, even though we had this transition between our workshop and our live event, or this particular workshop, I should say, or this particular live stream. So if you're looking right now to my left, your right, or I think is reversed, my right, your left, there is something in the top left corner there, which is our URL or a QR code, I should say, where you can go in and be generous if you like to support us by giving a donation of any amount. That would be a blessing because maybe you don't feel like buying anything today. Maybe you just want to hang out and then support us as we help creators to become the creators that God created them to be. Also would love to have your comments up here. We can pop up your comments. So if you would like to share as you are talking a question, just go ahead and put it in there. Number one, it helps me because the engagement obviously helps the algorithm. It also helps me realize that there are people here listening and talking to me, so I don't get into kind of like the ramble mode. We can make sure this is a conversation. Those of you who are watching who are on TikTok, it's a little bit tall here, so I feel like I'm looking up at you guys. But anyway, if you're watching me on TikTok, you can always come in and join me on YouTube simply by going to our profile, and then you can see that. But if you are watching live, please let me know, because like I said, we can pull your comments up on screen. All right, so I'm doing something I normally don't do, which is I normally don't have a screen here that I'm sharing, but I want to do that right off the bat. So hopefully it's working out okay. Let's go ahead and make it a little different so you guys can see it well. And yeah, so let's see how this works, because I normally have this in a different way, but I think this is going to work because I can get to be a little more creative with our with the way that I share this. So let me go ahead and jump over here. Now, first, we're going to be talking about our news and notes. This is where we just do the housekeeping for the entire Creator Checkup. We're going to be talking about our new members, welcoming them, our new podcast episodes, doing a quick recap. We just did this an hour ago, but again, I would love to kind of give you guys the update on what we talked about in the September Creator Workshop. And here's the thing, you can still watch it, because if you are a part of our 360 community, there is a way that you can get access to the replays even if you missed the live. And we'll talk about a very exciting YouVersion reading plan update. Then we're going to get into our vital signs, how successful creators build powerful networks. Vital signs is where we talk about that specific issue that is impacting your creative life day to day. It's spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, your mindset. So we're going to talk about the network and how those relationships really make your career possible and successful. Then we're going to talk about lab work. We're going to hit some real kind of, topics that are nailing us right now in our wallets. Everything's getting more expensive. What should we do when these tools that we're using for software suddenly raise their prices? Because that's been happening a lot. And then we're going to talk about the consult, kind of go back to our networking theme for the entire month. Our theme has been networking. And we're going to talk about how can you connect with creators that you admire, the people that you want to work with. How do you reach out and make that first connection when you feel kind of intimidated? And finally, we're going to get into our prescriptions. That's the thing I recommend that you do next. And hey, we got another accelerator coming up for those of you who want to accelerate your progress. Our summer accelerator was amazing. So I would love to have more if you guys join us there. All right. So let's first tell you where all this is happening. We want to say welcome to our 360 members. That's our own app. We do not need to be on Facebook anymore. We've left Facebook behind. We have a page there. But honestly, that's kind of like the lobby of our business, the lobby of our community, and the actual living room, family room where you walk in the door is our app, Guiding Gigs 360 Creator Community. It's algorithm free discussions with specific discussions, discipline specific discussions. All creator workshops and trainings are available. Our prayer and spiritual encouragement. We have a prayer thread that is super powerful where people can not just talk about the business, but they can pray for each other and build each other up and support each other. And if you want to go for our gold program, that is where you get live coaching and connection on a bi-weekly basis. Speaking of which, welcome to our new 360 creators. I know Donnie has joined us recently. Manuel has joined us recently. Camille, who was actually in our 360 workshop. Camille, it was great to have you there. As well as Nye has been a new member. And I want to welcome Anita and Aisha to the Gold program. So it is super cool that they have joined us over there. So really, really, really excited. Would love to, again, welcome more of you into 360. All you got to do to do that is go to guidinggigs.com/app. Let's see, there it is. guidinggigs.com/app to join us in 360. I would love for you guys to join us there. All right, let's move on to our latest podcast. I am so excited about these two young ladies who have been so, just gave us so much wisdom and so engaging and so warm and welcoming to us on the show. The first person you see there, I think that was episode 350, was Khadija Roll. The second one, I think, was episode 352, I want to say, and that's Heather Day. Both of those are incredible podcasts. I would love for you guys to go check that out. You can go do so each time by simply putting the name behind it, guidinggigs.com/350 or /352. But if you want to just check out any of our podcasts, just go to guidinggigs.com/podcast and you'll be able to see what we have going on recently. And oh yes, our workshop. This is what just happened a few minutes ago. And we had Shayna Davis on as our September Creator Workshop. And when I tell you she blew our minds in like 45 minutes, immediately erased any idea that you and I cannot be blessed and find so many more resources through connecting with corporate clients. And yes, I know you might have said the same thing that all of us were saying at the beginning. Wait, how do we connect with corporate clients? Do they really want to hear from creators? Well, Shayna explained and helped us figure out that the answer is yes. Yes, you can pivot and figure out ways that not changing everything you do, but how to rebrand it so that corporate clients will pay you those 5 figures and 6 figures. She broke it down so well. And if you want to get access to that workshop, you might say, oh, I missed it. I wanted to go, whatever. That's fine. You still can simply go to godandgigs.com/app or godandgigs.com/membership. Either one of those works. They go to the same place. And you can sign up for the Creator Resource Center. That's where this particular live stream and this particular workshop will be housed. So after the fact, even if you missed this, you can still go and watch it and learn how Shayna taught us how to get 5 and 6 figure contracts as creators from corporate clients. I'm telling you, once you realize what's possible, your brain will never shrink to the same size again in terms of your vision and your possibilities for your creative career. So please go check that out. Again, we're fresh off of this, and as soon as I get off this call, I'm going to go do my homework when it comes to the creator workshop that we just did, cashing in as a creator. All right, we're at to our vital signs. Let me back up a little bit before we go ahead. I did forget an announcement. Oh my gosh. Wait 1 second. I said we're going to talk about YouVersion, and I don't have that right now. So I think I should do like a big drum roll or something like that. Let's see here. How can I pull up the big announcement for the YouVersion? Let's see if I have it. Give me 1 second. I got to find it. If I can't find the picture, I can't do the big reveal. And this is making me sad right now because I don't see it in all of my thumbnails all over the place. Is that it? That's kind of it. All right, you guys, I'm sorry. Of course, I'm looking around on my computer and nothing shows up when you want it to show up. That's just the way it is when you're totally disorganized. And I wanted to show you guys this picture. Wait, is that it? Oh, I think this is it. Okay, thank you guys for being patient. All right, not this one. You ready for this? Da 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 da. The drum roll. There it is. The creators battle, winning the war for your art. The inner war for your art is now approved and will be on YouVersion as of this Monday. Sometime on Monday, sometimes it's in the morning, sometimes it's a little later. But as of the 22nd, you will be able to read our latest YouVersion devotional plan. This is super exciting. This is our 5th plan. I really admitted on some of my other platforms how I procrastinated for years. By the way, TikTok, I know you guys can't see this screen, so if you want to join us on YouTube, you can always watch it there. But this is the cover for the next YouVersion devotional. So I would love for you guys to join us over at godandgigs.com/YouVersion. It will take us to our page. You can follow the page, and then whenever the newest reading plan is uploaded and published, you'll be able to go and start reading it. Now, what we usually do is that we don't start reading it right off the bat because people need time to find it. So as a community, I will send out my personal reading group link. That's where we all can read it together and respond in the YouVersion app, in the Bible app. And so I will send that out during the week, and we'll start reading it together on the 29th. So September 29th will be the week that we do the reading plan. Okay, so just wait. You know, if you're feeling like, oh, I want to read it right away, fine, no problem. I would love for you to read it right away. But if you want to read it with our community, and I'll be sending out that note, then wait till, you know, just come back to the note, and then I will send out the link for the actual reading plan that we're going to be doing together. I'll send out that link that's going to my personal reading group, and that's where you'll be watching together. Awesome to see my friend Oziel here. Man, a great podcaster, fellow musician. Didn't know we were fellow musicians when we first met up, but it's great to see you here, brother. Thank you so much for joining me here. It's great to have other creators who are here, and I'm definitely glad you're seeing what we're doing with the YouVersion app and everything. This is just a blessing, and I love having new friends that are from our podcast community, which we met at Podfest, but we didn't really connect at Podfest. But definitely, we got to talk a lot more podcast movement. So thanks for joining us today. All right. Now I think we are ready to move on to our vital signs. So let me go ahead and prepare that, and we'll go on to the next step. All right. So let's talk about how successful creators build networks. So the first thing let's really get into is the fact of what a network is and what a network isn't. And so I think a lot of times people hear network and they think of like, network marketing, multi-level marketing. They think of networks being something very business, very corporate. But really, honestly, a network is simply a collection of relationships. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's just a set or a collection or a group of relationships, which each one of those relationships then builds on the other. So I have a relationship with one person, and then another person has a relationship with those two people. There might be differing links or connections between the other two. So obviously they may not know each other, but they know each other through you, right? They know you, and then you're the third connection, and that network continues to build exponentially over time when it comes to all these relationships. You've all heard of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees of separation, where everybody in the world seems to be in some way connected to each other. And of course, the internet made this super charged when we realized that we were just a click of a button away from meeting pretty much anybody in the world that has a digital device. So networks is not a new concept, of course, but successful creators and networks is something that has become more and more important over time. Here's why. Even though we're getting more and more connected through digital, social media, through all the different things, literally right now, how I'm connecting with you via this live stream, it's also becoming easier and easier to be isolated and fractured because we don't see networks as being tangible. We see them as being this kind of ethereal, where I just have like 1,000 friends, 2,000 friends, I have 100,000 subscribers, I have 100,000 followers. But that's not really a network. That's a very loose tie when it comes to those people who are following you, because there's nothing else connecting you except the fact that they followed you on a social media platform. The key of a successful network and a successful creator is the depth and the way that these connections now start to take hold in each other's lives and each person's life. The way that these networks become successful is because each person becomes more and more connected, and their success and their skills become more and more a part of the other person's, say, inventory, or their part. It's really weird to say because you think about it, but those aren't your skills. But when you have a connection with someone that has a certain set of skills or a certain set of connections, their connections become your connections. Their abilities become your abilities. And the network and the worth of that network grows exponentially by each person that digs deeper and becomes more and more ingrained in that network. So why am I putting this out to successful creators? Because those of you who are, obviously we're talking about those who know God and who have a faith-led lifestyle, know that Ecclesiastes says that two is better than one, and a threefold cord is not easily broken. So even the Bible has been clear that we are not supposed to do life alone, and that we're supposed to do life together, and that by connecting with the right people, Proverbs says, in the multitude of counselors there is safety. We actually build in almost not a guaranteed success, but a much more high probability of success. So what are some key things that you can do? I'm going to talk about this in our next segment in terms of the consult of the actual things that you can do to reach out to certain people, how to make that successful. But I think the first thing that successful creators do is that they make this intentional. Okay? They make network building intentional. It's not just I met somebody, maybe we'll meet, maybe we'll connect, maybe we'll, follow up, maybe we'll do a call. Successful creators make this a habit. It might be 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. It might be something on their phone that calls up certain people. I have an app called Clay that helps me by pulling up certain loose ties that I haven't visited in a long time, haven't connected with in a long time, and it brings it up. But there's a systematic approach to building a network. And so this is not something that makes it where you're trying to treat people in some kind of, I guess you think of it as being more robotic and less personable. Every single time that I've had something where I've reached out to somebody, basically because they were on my list to reach out to, they've always thanked me. They've never said, well, did you really mean to call me? Did you just call me out of like habit? No one says that. No one worries about why you called, why you connected, why you reached out to check on them. They're just glad you did. Again, in a more fractured society, a more fractured digital society, the willingness to reach out and connect with people is going to be more and more appreciated, and it's going to become a differentiator between those creators who are simply in it just to kind of like game the system and those who are actually creating human connections that will be worth way more over time than just staying on some kind of algorithm and trying to build these huge followings. So that's the first thing, that successful creators build networks intentionally and systematically. The second thing I would say that I've seen a lot of successful creators do, and this goes across the board, is that they find ways to be of value to other people even before there's a payoff. So a perfect example of this would be someone like Jill Scott, the singer who was painting and helping out inside a studio when she was discovered. She was not providing the value that she could as a singer when she was networking and trying to get into the studio. She simply showed up and found a way that she could be helpful. This is obviously a way that many people get jobs. They're like, hey, I'm just going to be an intern. I'm just going to show up. I'm just going to help out. But you can do this in networking as well, where you're not trying to connect with people to get from them. You're trying to connect with them to give and to be a resource and a value. This builds so much credibility at the beginning of your relationships that you realize that you're not trying to build big networks to get a lot of stuff out from people, but the Bible is true. Whatever you sow, you reap. If you sow a sense of helping, a sense of value, a sense of I'm not in it for me, I'm in it for you, you will find your network grows because people are attracted to that. And the fact is that if you have something to offer, you will eventually find a space that you can offer it, and there can be this value exchange. But by going first, by leading first with what you can give versus what you can get, you are creating a more powerful, a more authentic network where people are actually interested in what you have to say and what you have to give, rather than simply you going after people and just saying what you have, what you want from them. So I'm going to stop for a second because I love what these comments are right now. I see that Manus is here. He says, nowadays, the new creators focus on money rather than focusing more on networking. I would agree with that, and that's a bad move, I would say. I honestly feel like so many creators are missing out on the power of a network. I can tell you personally that my network is the reason why I can stand here, why I have StreamYard here, why I'm using StreamYard was because of a network connection and a connection with a community where I learned all of these skills and all these tools. I would not be able to do what I'm doing now if it wasn't the collective ability of the network that I have built over time, where people have sewn into me, give me advice. I'm there to pay attention. I'm part of their networks. I'm part of their communities. And I find so many more money-making opportunities because of the network that I've built and the relationships that I've built. So I agree with you 100% there. It really matters that you are intentional about growing your network. Now, let's say one more thing that's really important. You have to be intentional. You have to give before you get. But then the third one is honestly kind of like the hardest one. You have to become so almost absolutely rigid about following up. You cannot be one of these people that wants to build a network and then just has a list of names and faces that you have connected with in your, what we used to call in the old days, I'm going to say Rolodex, that just dates me. But this is where you have to have a status or some kind of like database of these relationships and know how to follow up with them. When someone has, like, say, a status change on LinkedIn, when someone has something that goes, that goes sideways in their business and they post about it, you have to be visible enough and pay attention enough to follow up and be one of those people who actually is connected in more ways than simply the random post. This is what I think separates successful creators with networks versus those who are just like trying to like build up their followings and not really connect with people. You need to be the one person who, when you see something happening, you are the one that jumps up and says, hey, let me send a text. How are things really going? You need to be the one that pays attention to things so that as you build your network, you are not simply, again, having this massive names. That doesn't mean anything. This may mean that you need to make your network a little smaller so that you can be more responsive to people that you want to connect with. But that is the key. The depth of your relationship will determine the power and the breadth that eventually your relationship can handle. If you don't do this, it's just collecting names. It's not going to build your network to the place that you can actually really enjoy the benefits. So I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I am so glad you're learning from this. This is really, really, really a blessing for me to see. And I see a few more people who are joining us live. So if you want to comment as well, remember, you can always comment and I will be able to pop up your name on the screen. But I love this conversation. So we're going to keep this going. Let's move on to our lab work, because I think this will also be a blessing to you, because this comes into something that's really, really, really affecting a lot of us, is the price of some of these tools that we're dealing with. So let's move on to our next segment. Okay, this one is a hard one, all right? I don't like talking about this any more than you do. When we talking about inflation, that money is getting tight, you guys, in terms of what companies are charging. So let me kind of give you some backstory on this. Oh, good to see you. Awesome. Let me do this. Let me pause for a second. I know I don't like to pause. Shepard, great to see you. I do remember meeting you. I know you're the name from Podcast Movement as well. So this is awesome. Thank you for joining us, man. This is super cool. So now we're going to talk about this whole tool thing about prices going up. And so the context is, I have been an advocate for the software tool called Kit, which is for email, landing pages, building up your commerce. Everything I run pretty much when it comes to like the back end of my creator business is run on Kit. I'm not like one of those, super huge email list people. My list is a moderate sized list, or maybe even a small to moderate, but yet the tools allow me to grow and build and kind of create that network that I just talked about. Well, recently, Kit just raised their prices from $49 to $59 a month for, I want to say, the kind of like the creator plan, which is what I'm on. So I think it goes up to 3,000 subscribers. Now, I was talking about this with some other people inside our membership, in the 360 membership. And we were talking about, well, maybe some people want to get alternatives, maybe want to find something that's cheaper, maybe we don't want to stick with certain companies that are raising the prices. Lo and behold, we went and looked at another competitor, and they are raising their prices as of like November. Actually, no, I take it back. They're not raising their prices. They are cutting out one of their tiers so that you have to pay in order to get the same thing you used to get. Okay, so I'll go ahead and name it because, this is all public, right? So Kit's raising their prices. Flowdesk is the other one. Again, they're cutting out a tier. So now if you go over a certain subscriber amount, just like Kit, you're going to have to pay a certain amount more, where it used to be a flat rate. So basically what's happening is all these companies apparently are saying, we can't do the same pricing. We need to raise our prices. The very network I'm on right now that I'm using, StreamYard, raised their prices like a year ago. And it was a big price hike. Let's just be honest. Like, I'm here. I stuck with it. But it was a big chunk of what I used to pay. And all of a sudden, like, it's like 30, 40, 50% more. So my question to a lot of you is, whether you dealt with this, are you dealing with higher prices for maybe your email? Maybe you have some streaming software. Maybe it's just what you're buying. Again, we're talking about the economy in general. Like, things get more expensive. And so the question is, what do we do? How do we manage that? Do we just give up and just not use the things anymore and just downscale everything? Or do we have to find new ways to make income? Do we have to find ways to pay for certain things? How do you decide what to pay for? Well, here's my thing. I go through basically what you would say in terms of like a medical thing, the triage. So what's the most important thing? What cannot be sacrificed? What has to be saved? So as prices are going up, I'm looking at all of my tools and I'm like, okay, what are the most important things? Because I've been very honest with you guys in terms of September. That's why, let's go over here for a second. That's why I keep telling you guys you can donate over here with the QR code, because hey, these things cost money. For me to use this premium software that I'm using right now to go live to you costs money, and then sometimes the cash flow isn't cash flowing. So I am always very honest to say, hey, I got to make decisions in a business as a creator just like you do. So I am now, right now, trying to decide what's the most important thing. Well, I decided when I looked at Kit that Kit was worth the extra expense, even though the price is going up. Why? Because the amount of value I get from it and the fact that I can sell things with Kit makes it worth it, because I can then make sure that it pays for itself. And as it gets more expensive, that just means I'm going to have to work harder to make sure it pays for itself. So that's the key element when it comes to some of these tools. Are they paying for themselves? Are you actually using them to make money, or are they just kind of like shiny object syndrome and you just got it because it was cool, but it doesn't really actually help you make money? Now, for some tools that raise their prices, you're going to look at it and say, was I really using this effectively? And if I'm not, do I really need it? And that's exactly what I'm doing right now with a lot of my tools. I'm looking at it and say, yeah, prices are going up. Do I really need this service? If I don't, and I can do it for another, with another way, another cheaper way, I'm going to go ahead and make the move, because I don't want to get stuck with certain projects or certain tools, assuming that's the only way for me to do this particular workflow. When if I just allow that price point to kind of give me a little bit of a push and say, hey, what's another way to do this? And find out there's a more effective, cheaper way to do it. Well, now it's working in my benefit to say, hey, let's look at these prices. Let's really gauge. I would say do this every 3 months, no matter what you are doing and no matter what the prices are, just to make sure you're not paying for stuff you don't really need. But as I mentioned, for me, Kit was a non-negotiable. Obviously, my website, prices haven't gone up for that, thank goodness. My hosting, my podcast hosting, thank goodness, right now is also holding steady, but it might not. You guys, we're in business. Everything gets more expensive. Inflation is a thing for a reason. So everybody has to be in a state or a mindset of, hey, I need to be ready for price hikes. I need to be looking and not getting so bent out of shape when things get more expensive, because that's what's going to happen. Now, if you're someone that's in a hobbyist level that you don't really feel like you should be spending money or investing money in your creative art, your creative gift, your platform, or whatever, well, again, that's where you have to do the calculus. Well, is this a hobby and it's not paying for itself? Can I afford to keep this software, or do I need to move on and change it up a little bit if I want to keep this hobby going? But if you're in the business side, if you have decided to become a creative entrepreneur, now you need to look at it in terms of investment. Is this going to bring in more money than it cost me? If not, how can I make sure that this tool is paying for itself? And then if it's not going to pay for itself no matter what I do, why am I keeping it? So this is a very, 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 again, kind of like hard-hitting moment for a lot of us when the prices start going up. And I would love to know in the comments, if you're watching, how are you dealing with the price hikes? Are you dealing with any price hikes in the software that you use for your creator business? Could be physical, could be digital, right? Could be your physical costs are going up because certain things are more expensive to buy. And it could be that your subscriptions are going up because most of these software products are also raising prices. And again, you really can't get mad at these companies. Like, they have to stay in business. And they, just like me, have looked at it and like, well, my bottom line is not moving. So there's only two ways I can do that. I can either get more customers or I can raise prices. There's the only two ways that you can really increase your income, right? More customers or higher prices. And if you don't feel like you're going to be able to get more customers, then the quickest way to create more revenue is to raise prices. So again, let's just be honest with each other. We're also in business. Let's not cry over spilled milk when it comes to prices going up for these different tools. Let's be honest and pragmatic about it. Say to yourself, is this making money for me, or could it if I treated it with more seriousness? And if that's the case, then I will go ahead and either pay for it. I'll go ahead and find a way to bring another product line in to use it to pay for itself. However that works for that specific thing, email, website, for your editing software, for whatever you do, any physical things you buy, just make sure that you are being effective at how it's paid for. And then hopefully you don't have to cut out so many things that actually might be essential for your business. You don't want to cut out the things that actually help you make money. And that's the mistake a lot of us make. We start, oh my gosh, I can't afford it. I got to get rid of it. And you cut out the very thing that could actually create income for you. So don't be so quick to pull the trigger until you investigate, can I make money with this tool that's raising its price? I hope that's made a lot of sense to you guys. This is, again, where I'm at. And I think a lot of us are also at this place when you start looking around at all these things that are costing more money. And as a creator, I think this, again, gives you the motivation you need to start treating these things more seriously and deciding that you're going to make money with the tools that you are purchasing and using for your creator business. All right, guys, I hope this is making a lot of sense. I feel like we're making a lot of good time here. We're going to move ahead now. Let me go ahead and get ready. And we're going to move ahead to our, I almost forgot the name of it, consult. All right, let's talk about the best way to reach out to a potential partner. Now, this came from a question actually inside of our YouTube. So those of you who are watching on YouTube, you've seen like how we're talking about. No, there we go. So I want to see who was hanging out with us on YouTube, on TikTok. So this came from one of our YouTube members, and they wanted to know how do you reach out to one of our guests. And one of the thoughts I had right away was, didn't we put their information inside of the episode? And so it was kind of like, well, I guess either they didn't see it or they were hoping for like more of a personal recommendation, which of course I can't give all personal recommendations. I'm not giving anybody's phone number, right? So I think this points to more of an issue where some people think that there's got to be some like special thing that you have to do in order to connect with certain partners, potential partners, collaborators, people you respect. And I think maybe it is that little bit of that intimidation where you think, oh my gosh, I can't just go up there and ask them. I don't want to get shot down. I don't know if they would really like me. I don't know if they think I'm just going to trying to get something from them. And so here's the part that I think, again, kind of hit me, that we don't really talk about this. I have been so blessed to have so many amazing connections inside the God and Gigs community. And yet, sometimes I forget that it all started with an ask. It all started with me just being willing to say, hey, here's what I'm building. Would you like to be a part of it? Would you like to be on the show? Would you like to be an ambassador? Would you like to just making the ask? The Bible says you ask not because you have not. You have not because you ask not. And then it says in terms of when you even ask, you ask amiss. That's James talking about it. And he's basically saying you asked the wrong question. You had the wrong motive when you tried to connect with this person. And this goes back to our very first segment in Vital Signs on how to connect with people. And so, as I mentioned earlier, it's got to be a give first kind of ask. It's got to be a, can I help you? How can I help you? How can I be of assistance? Before you ask for anything, hey, can you sing on my record? Can you be on my podcast? Like, all of this comes from relationship and shared value. But unless you start to share first and you give first, this is where a lot of people get gun shy. They're like, nope, this looks spammy. You just showed up in my DMs and all of a sudden you want to like say hi and work together. And it's like, I don't even know you yet. So the number one best way to reach out to a potential partner is to first study and pay attention to what they actually want and need. And then when you reach out to them, do so in a spirit of giving and not of trying to take something or get right into their radar right away. You got to build rapport with people. This is a relationship 101. So I can tell you that there are certain people who I have connected with that are way beyond what I feel are my particular, whatever you want to call, pay grade, my level of expertise. And yet they have been very, very gracious to me and said, yes, I'd love to be a partner in this. I'd love to help you out with this. And so much of that comes from, like, honestly, let's be straight up, it comes from just being a nice person. And so I think, once again, digitally speaking, social media wise, it's hard to like do this because people don't see your face, they don't see your nuance, they don't see if you're like really care, or they just, just typing. But so much of this comes back to, are you able to see other people's needs before or as they do? And as you reach out, let's say it's the DMs, let's just say it's Instagram DMs. I've done this before and it feels super awkward. But you're not giving that spammy, hey, I would love to work together, da, 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 da. You're basically saying, for a particular post, great point. Thank you so much for sharing this. Thank you so much for being a part. I'm following you. I'm virtually being mentored by you, and I just want to say thank you. So a lot of these potential partnerships are with people who you already admire. And I think just not being, super, super over the top with your fandom, but being very genuine and saying, yes, I want to support you no matter what you do for me. Then it can move very quickly to what people sense from you is, hey, this is reciprocal. And so maybe there is an ask of, hey, I'd love to partner with you in a certain way. So the second thing I would say about the best way to reach out to a potential partner is think it through. What are the actual things you could do together, and not just immediately, oh, we're going to write a movie together and we're going to make $1 million. Like, that's not feasible. Where can you enter this person's world on their terms and be able to connect with them on their level? And a great example of this, and this is not a potential partner, it's just an example of what I did. I mentioned earlier that I went to 3 different conferences in the same day, same week. And one of them was right next door, was Lamar Tyler with Traffic Sales and Profit at the National Business League convention. And what I saw was incredible was, as soon as I walked in, it was like, I haven't been here for 3 days, and they've been doing all this for 3 days, and yet I don't feel like I don't belong. I feel like I just missed the first 2 days of the conference, but I was able to walk in, got there early to the meeting that I thought that Lamar Tyler would be in, and sure enough, he walked in like the second I walked in. And not only that, but he recognized me and he said hello. We had connected on LinkedIn, and it was like, oh my gosh, just because I positioned myself, I showed up, I didn't have anything to get, and then I met the actual director of the company that I have been following, and realized that we had enough of a personal connection that he remembered me. That is what it means to reach out with intention, so that you're never showing up with a gimme, gimme, gimme. But then that potential partner can see, hey, you can do this for me. Can you post this for me? And then there can be this back and forth of where you might be able to ask something from them. But the key is, again, how do you start the relationship? If you start the relationship the right way, it will end up the right way. So that's the number one best way, I would say, to reach out to a potential partner. Now, before I go ahead with this, I'm going to check and see. Even right now, I'm seeing a post right now where someone's asking about doing a podcast together. And I would say the same thing I just said. Here's where we can build relationship, because unless I know people, I don't know what we would shoot together. Why would we do a podcast? What would we talk about? So these are the kind of things I would welcome you to reach out to me at alan@godandgigs.com. And let me learn more about your platform. Let me learn more about, this is a perfect example of this right in real time. Once I know what we are aligned by and how we're aligned, there's more potential for partnership. But C.S. Lewis said a friendship must always be about something. There has to be shared values, shared goals, shared intentions, things like that. Once you have that, then you can say, oh, well, the best way to go forward, I've done this with many of my different network relationships. I have decided to go on to do a workshop with them, or it was an episode, or it was a collaboration of some other sort. Whatever it was based on the shared needs of each party. So I highly, highly recommend that, again, for those of you who want to work with me, whatever it is, let's connect on a deeper level throughout time, over time, so that we can actually see what works and then help each other gain value from that exchange. So I hope that has been helpful to you guys. And again, if you have been wondering about a question, I would love to know what questions you have. You can always email me. Can't talk today. Been talking a lot today. At alan@godandgigs.com. Or some easy ways for you to get connected. Obviously, I'm going to bring it up every time, is to join the membership. Because join the membership, you can always have that 24-hour chat availability, where I can see that chat at any time, and it's not limited by any algorithm or anything like that. So obviously, I would love to have you guys in the membership as well, because that is networking. The membership is just one big network, literally. Mighty networks, right? It's networking. It's connecting with other people who know what you want to know and want to grow the way that you want to grow. So that is another perfect example of where I've tried to intentionalize networking, intentionalize community, and make it so that it's natural for us to stay connected. All right, my friends, it looks like we're making good time today. I'm going to go ahead and move on to our last thing, which is our prescriptions. And we have a nice little new thing for that. So let's see if this pops up. Yeah, I know. I like that one. It's just because it's like a little different. Feels like more like a commercial is getting ready to finish, or the Intel Inside sound. So let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see it. I should go here. Yeah. So the Fall Creator Accelerator is coming up, and I mentioned this a little earlier about our Summer Accelerator. Our Summer Accelerator was honestly one of the best accelerator coaching programs we've ever done. The synergy of the people that were in, what they learned, how they learned. They even took on when I had to be out a couple of weeks. They met by themselves. They didn't need me to be there. And the Creator Accelerator's purpose is to push you toward the one goal that you've been putting off, the thing that you need help with, and you're tired of just spinning your wheels and you want to actually make progress over the next 8 to 10 weeks. So right now, we are planning to start, I would say, beginning of October, because we want to finish before the holidays. So we may start, I would say, most likely October, and it would run for 8 weeks, okay? So if you want to sign up for that, let me show you where to get to that. I just lost my banner. There it is. GuidedGigs.com/fall 2025. And let me just kind of walk you through a little bit. Matter of fact, we're going to do some fun stuff in a second because I haven't done this in a while. Let's do this. Let's do a little bit of a glance at the actual accelerator so you guys can see what we did in the summer. And once you see what we did in the summer, it might give you a lot bigger picture of what we're going to do in the fall. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek here. Let's go here. I should probably use the light version. So now we're literally inside the 360 membership. And so if you can see that, you can see that this is where we did our exercise on the one sentence, where we clarified your message. So this week's goal was how to figure out for the next 60 days how you're going to define who you are as an artist and what you're going to create. And so this little breakdown, and you can see the comments over here where everybody was chiming in and getting more clarity on what they actually do. This is the kind of stuff that we do inside the accelerator, because here's what happens. So many of us say we're going to move ahead with our jobs and our functions and our goals, but we don't actually sit down to figure out exactly what we're trying to do. And people will give you all of this, stuff on productivity, but the key is, what are you trying to achieve with your productivity? Not just start a whole bunch of new projects. And so we sat down and we get into the nitty-gritty of what are you actually about and who's going to be blessed or helped by this project. This is exactly why I think the accelerator is such a powerful tool, because you don't get this kind of stuff usually from even a course, where the course might tell you, but there's no interaction. This combines the course and the interaction so that you can get that head start on your next creative goal for 2026. Imagine how much closer you'll be to your goals if you start now and decide to move it forward into 2026, because you have the inner underpinnings and the foundation built with other people who grew it with you and helped you figure out the mistakes you were probably going to make, and then you could actually avoid them. So this is what I would highly recommend to all of you. Let me go see one more page if we got something else. The leveraging what's in your hand, the assets, and the apartment and value. And this was just 3 sections of it. There's more that we didn't show right now. So this is just like an example of what's actually going to happen inside the fall accelerator. So you just got to glance at the summer accelerator, and now you can see that this is exactly what's going to happen, but even more of it in the fall. So now that you know what's coming up, let's see what happened here. Oh, here we go. So let's go ahead and start to wrap it up a little bit, just by reviewing some of the things that we talked about today. Just like with every other live stream, I want to make sure that we actually gave you value today. Let's go ahead and take this down. So remember, as I talked about in the beginning, we talked about the networking. That's the theme of the entire month. And I would love to know from you, are you intentionally networking this week? As a matter of fact, in the 360, let's bring out the 360 membership again one more time. Let me find our challenge. Let's see here. 1 second. Official news. September monthly theme. So here you can see inside the membership, those of you who are in the membership, you've already seen this. It's just good to kind of review it. That we have monthly themes inside 360. So every month we have a different theme. So this month, our Creator Challenge theme is networking with purpose. So it makes perfect sense. This is why I talked about this all day today. was networking. So we have a challenge that we're doing where in each week we're challenging our folks to focus on 3 areas of networking. Deepen your connections, renew your connections, or seek out new connections. Okay, so week 1, we evaluated our network. Week 2, we engaged our networks. This is week 3, we are energizing our network. So we're planning follow-up meetings and new collaborations. So yeah, as you can see, all this happens inside the membership so that you can grow and work on it. So along with the accelerator, obviously if you become a member of the accelerator, you also get that membership during that time. And I've been, I've seen people already kind of converting from the accelerator into the gold program. But even if you don't, you still keep your basic access to the 360 app. You just do as a guest. We call 360 guest. And then there's 360 gold and the creator resource center. So those are subscribers who are actually not guests. They're actually creators, 360 creators. And then the guests are the ones that just buy a one-time product and then they don't like actually buy anything else. So they become a guest inside the membership. So they can still comment this stuff, but they don't get access to the things that like we're doing inside of our other subscription programs. So that's how that works, just in case you were wondering. If I join the accelerator, yes, you also are a member of 360 if you join the accelerator. All right, let's go ahead and bring this down and let's bring myself back up. All right, this has been a great call already, man. Just because I know we came back from our 11 o'clock workshop. Once again, if you want to get access to that 11 o'clock workshop and you're like, oh, I missed it. I wanted to hear about becoming corporate smart and being able to monetize and use corporate clients to build up my business, to build up my influence. Let me see if I can pull that up one more time. Oh, that was from, I forgot where I was. I got so many apps and things open. Let's see here before I got to bring up our presentation again because otherwise you guys can't see it. Let's see here. There it is. Sorry about that. I got definitely lost today. Sharing the screen is a little different than it normally is when I don't just do share screen. There it is. All right, let's pull this back up. And now we're back to where we were. So remember what we talked about all today. Basically, here, let's reviewing from the very beginning. I love this. Just so you guys can see it. Remember we talked about our home for faith-focused creators. And then over here, which is what I was kind of making sure that we knew, is you can get access to this workshop if you become a member of 360. Okay, so remember, all you gotta do is go to godandgigs.com/app and you can get access to the Cash In as a Creator, how to improve and grow, increase your income and influence by specializing in corporate contracts, lucrative corporate clients. And yes, creators, we can do this. We can do this. Shayna taught us how. She taught us how. All right, my friends, I have nothing else for today. Wait, let's see. We got some comments. Oh, I see that Tricia is here and tagging Khadija. It would be awesome. I want to hang out for another 7 minutes or so. So this would be a great time for questions. I can also give you a few more updates on what's happening inside the community. Let's see here. Let's go down here. Ba-boom. And we had some birthdays in the community that we've been celebrating. Oh, yeah, there was another win that I forgot about. And I should bring it up here. Let's see if I can pull this up. I can say and tell you guys about. And this is all, again, coming up in the membership. So if you're wondering where to see this and you're in 360, remember, all you got to do is open it up. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. There's a lot going on. Let's see. That is the... I'm going to pull out the actual post. There we go. And I'm going to go, let's go to lighting. I want to make sure you guys can see because it's dark. I'm in dark mode. Let's switch it to light mode. That'll be a lot easier to see. All right, let's open up this post. So this is super cool. I want to make sure that I celebrate this person. So as you can see here, this is a beautiful family. This is actually our virtual assistant, Via, and her amazing husband and her beautiful daughter. And so Via has recently opened up her own virtual assistant company. So I wanted to make sure I shouted her out because she's been such a blessing to God and Gigs over the last 3 years. She was our first contractor that we brought on, still with us, still blessing us, still helping us with every podcast episode. And she is, again, if you are a creator right now watching this and you're like, I have so many things to do and I just don't have the time. I don't have time to check email. I lose track of clients and networking because I'm not seeing my email. I'm not keeping up with my landing pages. I'm not able to do my marketing effectively. She is your go-to person. I would love for you guys to check her out. I don't think she has a website yet, but she does have an Instagram. Let's go ahead and put that in. I think it is. I hope this is right. Fia, if you're watching this now, let me know if I'm wrong, please. So I would not mess up your company. But I think it is Instagram.com create with Via. I might check this out right now to make sure. So I wanted to give her a shout out again because she has been such a blessing to our company. And now she is expanding. And I'm praying that she doesn't have so many clients that she has to drop us. Please don't drop us, okay? Please don't. I would love to have you for the rest of our time. But of course, I know God is expanding your borders. So I would love for you guys to check her out as well and to support her. And last but not least, there was one other win I wanted to show you guys. And that was a book. Where is the book? And this is why I love the community so much because I can do this inside the community. I don't have to go looking for anything. I'm just going to pull up. Yeah, let's just pull up this whole book here. And this is the other I'm super proud of is our friend Dre Marshall. Is another win from our community. Dre Marshall was in our June Creator Workshop. And he shared on where is the love, how to avoid burnout as a creator. Was a hugely helpful workshop. You guys need to go back and watch that one. Again, you can check it out in our app. It's available to watch in our app. But he has just released, I think pre-order is still up, but I don't think it's released yet. His new book, The Creative's Guide to Getting Started. And I was so blessed that I was able to write the foreword to this book. So that was super honor, a big honor for me to write the foreword to this. But Dre, when I tell you I read it, and when I tell you there's no more practical walk through what it really takes to build your creator brand from the ground up than this book. Like I'm just saying, like he's been a Grammy winner. He's worked with Oscar winners. Like he's done it all, and yet his way of being able to break this down to where you can understand it no matter what level you're at. So please go check this book out. I do believe it's on Amazon. I don't have a link for it right now. But The Creative's Guide to Getting Started by Andre Marshall. Okay. Go check that out. Again, it was a blessing that I got a chance to be a part of that book on the forward of it. So you will see my words. You get to hear what he is thinking in terms of how to build your creator brand. And once again, I believe it is available on Amazon and probably any other places where you look for books. There it is, thinkmansa.com, which is his website, thinkmansa.com, and on Amazon. All right, that's cool. So I got a chance to do a couple of wins as well. That was super cool. I'm so glad that we got a chance to do that because normally I would finish up and then we had to just jump off. But this gave me time to celebrate some of our members and some of the people in our community. But my friends, this has been a great call. Thank you so much for joining us. Trisha, for Shepard, for Manas, for Aziel. You guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. If you're watching on replay right now, remember, once again, you can always find us at godandgigs.com for everything. Remember, you can always jump in on our membership at our app, godandgigs.com/app. And you can always as well find our podcast at godandgigs.com/podcast. I'm getting ready to share another great episode. We're up to 354, I think. Just crazy how God has blessed us and allowed us to stay in this so long. It's my pleasure, our pleasure, man. Thank you for being a part of this. And I appreciate that. I really get a lot out of these sessions. I really do. I'm so glad that you guys are getting a lot of it out of it as well. And so once again, I hope you'll join us in all of our other platforms. Podcast comes out Monday. The Creator Checkup, which is the newsletter version of what I just did, right? So maybe you just like, I want to read this stuff, okay? So if you ever say, oh, I missed something, basically you join the newsletter. I give you all the information that I'm talking about, including all the news tips and things that are going on in God and Gigs. So the newsletter is how you get that in written form, and then I do basically what you saw today was a summary of it via video. So this is the easiest way to keep up with God and Gigs content. Monday podcast, Wednesday newsletter, Friday live stream. Simple as that. Just follow us that way, okay? Monday podcast, Wednesday newsletter, email, live stream on Friday, and that way you'll always know where to find us, okay? So hopefully that system has been working out for you guys, because it's definitely helped me, because I was all over the place before. Now it's like, okay, I know what's coming. If it's Monday, there's going to be a podcast. If it's Wednesday, it's going to be an email. And if it's Friday, it's going to be a live stream. All right, you guys, God bless you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And I will see you next Friday. I think I'll be in town. I'm making sure. I'm checking my mind. I think we'll be in town. We'll be sure to go. I'll make sure to send a newsletter if we're going to be out. But God bless you. Thank you so much for being a part of God and Gigs. And until next time, continue to become the creator that you were created to be. God bless. And we'll see you next live stream.